you doing, Dr. Adams?
I'm great.
Good to see you.
And it's always good to see you.
We've got another phenomenal exhibition coming in.
I know it. I'm really excited about it.
And I just want to say thank you, because there's so much that you're doing, and you are bringing so much energy and excitement to the museum that a lot of people don't know who you are. Well, whoever doesn't know who you are needs to know. And for those who don't know the excitement that you've brought to the museum, I mean, you have put this place on fire.
Well, you know, we're an exciting people. Our history and our present are both very exciting. So that needs to be reflected in everything we do. That's the energy that I hope to be helping to really spark here at DuSable Museum.
Well, you've got a lot of programs. I mean, everybody knows about Night of 100 Stars. Well, if I can add, was just totally incredible. I thought it was summertime in the middle of winter.
I know.
And the energy, the feeling, and you continue the partnerships, whether it's the collaboration that we're seeing now with the trolley tour, bringing the presence of Africa and Mexico, the exhibit that's coming, and the community gallery space, the partnership between Gallery Guichard and DuSable Museum. I can't say enough about the type of personality that allows for partnerships, and you have that.
Well, I believe in being collaborative. I think that together we really can achieve at a higher level. And we have so many resources, so many assets in our community, that if we work together, not as competitors, but as collaborators, we can do anything. We've got talent, we've got facilities, we've got resources. Our community has capital. Everybody always thinks they have to ask everyone else for what we need. But I believe that all that we need, we have.
You know, there was a conversation we've had before where you talk about Chicago being a special town, whether it's the arts, the community, but just if you could talk a little bit about that, because I think it's inspirational, the perspective that you put it in.
Well, a lot of us think, particularly scholars and academicians and activists, that Chicago is truly the center of the black world. I mean, everything swirls from here. When you look at the leadership, whether we're talking about Barack Obama, or Jesse Jackson, or Minister Farrakhan, or whomever, they come from Chicago. If we look at the very founder of this city, what other major city in America was founded by a black man? DuSable, that energy. You look at the businesses, the great fortunes that came here from major black businesses. Or Ebony magazine, for example, which we may take for granted in Chicago, but if you travel throughout the black world, you'll understand the message it is relayed to other people in the world about us. Everywhere I've ever been in Africa, they ask me, do I have any Ebony magazines? Because they like to read, what is the African American doing? They like to understand what we're all about. They aspire to us in much the way that often we aspire to them. So also, I guess my biggest thing that I think hasn't gotten nearly the recognition that it should is the various times of great renaissance artistically that took place in Chicago. Whether we're talking about the earlier era that gave rise to the Southside Community Arts Center and the Margaret Burroughses and the Archibald Motleys and all that, and whether we're talking the 60s, 70s that gave rise to Afro-Cobra and the many visual and performing and literary artists that came from that, to me, that topped anything that happened in any other city. And these are things that are still going on. We're long distance runners in Chicago. You know, if you look at the Art Center, they opened up many other art centers across the country at that same time with WPA funds, but only the one in Chicago remains.
So true.
If you look at an Afro-Cobra or a AACM that started during the 70s, they're still going on, when many of those collectives died after about 10 years. You know, so we are there for the long haul. We believe in investing in our arts, and I think it's reflected in all the galleries and the institutions that we have, and I think you're in that tradition.
I thank you, and coming from a person with such big cultural shoulders as yourself, I appreciate that. And I'm going to end on the note that a lot of people don't know how cultural you are in terms of your collector you've always been a part of this contemporary art movement. You used to auction and help with just the fire back when it was just smoldering. Is there anything that you'd like to say in closing to people who haven't been to the museum in some time, why they need to make it a part of their upcoming activities to come to DuSable Museum?
Well, first of all, if you've ever been, it doesn't mean that you still don't need to come, because this is a dynamic museum, not a static museum. We're constantly changing. We're doing new things. Yes, we have permanent exhibits, but we have new ones all the time. Our Black Panther exhibit is on fire. People love it. And they like the programming we're doing in association with it. When we open African Presence in Mexico in August, it's going to be a great, great fanfare. 2 days of grand opening activities, August 28th and 29th, that include Dance Africa and the marvelous performances associated with that, various Mexican-American dancers and mariachi bands and so forth. We're going to do it up big. We're incorporating it also into our Arts and Crafts Festival. So all those things will happen here right on our grounds in our beautiful front yard in something called Yanga Fest. And we're naming it Yanga Fest after Yanga, who was the African, the enslaved African who led the rebellion in Mexico. And it was so ferocious and furious in his rebellion that the colonialists actually had to make a deal with him rather than the other way around, because they could not defeat him. So to that indomitable spirit, we're dedicating our opening of African Presence and our sharing of this magnificent history with a community that doesn't know much at all about those connections.
Wow. Dr. Carol Adams, I tell you, what a pleasure.
Your friend.
You're my friend, and one of my mentors from afar. You don't know how much I really appreciate what you're doing for the community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good talking to you always.
Thank you. Till next time.